So, have you heard someone say we have to control the narrative? I'll be honest, I struggle with what that really means. Now, the first time somebody told me that we need to control the narrative, I was confused. I honestly didn't understand what he meant. This guy was a good leader. In fact, he's still a good leader. But nevertheless, I was confused. I didn't understand. So I decided to sit back and watch him and glean from his interactions to find out what he actually meant. So we went into a meeting and he took the facts that I knew 100% the truth of, and he manipulated them just enough to get what he wanted and to meet his agenda. Now, that just didn't settle right with me. It just didn't feel like what we should be about. It wasn't fully true, but it met his need in a way that benefited him. Now, it wasn't at the expense of other people, but it still seemed just a little bit off. So controlling the narrative is simply manipulating the truth to meet your desires or to fulfill your needs, or maybe even marginalize an opposing point of view. A worldview that doesn't match up with yours, or maybe that doesn't match up with your ideology. So think about that for a minute. The majority of the time, controlling the narrative is simply lies and deceit. Now, we have to look no further than conservative and liberal media. They frame and control the narrative on every story to match up with their ideological belief system, at the expense of the facts, at the expense of their viewers, or more than likely to please their viewers in order to get more ad revenue. They realize that often people are watching because they believe in the same ideological framework. So for them, instead of challenging their viewers with the facts and the truth and helping shape a more balanced worldview for them, they give into it. If you deny that the manipulation of the narrative is happening all around you, or even potentially by you, then you may be showing that you prefer a narrative that makes you feel comfortable with your ideological preference rather than with the truth. So, what is narrative anyway? Well, we often redefine things to meet our cultural or ideological point of view. It's kind of like framing the narrative, but with definitions. We redefine things to suit us. But let's not start there. Rather, let's look at the real world definition of narrative. And it simply means a way of presenting or understanding a situation or series of events that reflects and promotes a particular point of view or set of values. So, narrative isn't inherently defined by truth. And that seems a little weird to me. Why is that? What is truth? Well, the literal definition of truth is the body of real things, events, and facts. That's what truth is. So we have the option of creating a narrative of our own or agreeing with a manipulated or framed narrative that isn't based on truth or facts, but instead supports our own ideology, our own worldview, or our own feelings. Or we can skip all that and we can have a narrative that is foundationally set upon the truth and the facts. It seems to me like one of those options is better than the others. So I say let truth be the narrative. Let truth be the narrative when it looks bad, because it often will. Let truth be the narrative even when it's hard, because it always is. And let truth be the narrative even when you get hurt because of it, because we all have. Real men, real women embrace truth. They don't fear it. They let the narrative be truth, and they live with the consequences of that, whether they like it or not. What does all of this have to do with creating, helping others create, or encouraging creativity? Well, our worldview frames the narratives that we believe in. It frames the narratives that we ourselves express to the world. When we create, we often do so in a way that parallels those narratives we personally hold on to, whether they're based in truth or not. Some types of creativity actually express narratives directly. For instance, writers of fiction and nonfiction, movie makers, songwriters, and poets all create narratives that develop new worlds, characters, stories, and ideas. These creatives often dig into their views of the world around them to develop these new narratives in their work. So narratives are a crucial part of these types of work. And through the use of the different narratives, we can often be encouraged, strengthened, and even convicted in our own lives. So if you use narratives in your creative work, I want you to give some thought to the purpose those narratives fill. Are they focused on your opinions? Are they defined by your own point of view? Do they include other points of view? Do they show a history with a slant towards an ideological preference? Are they based on facts? Do they promote truth? Well, the reality is, when it comes to creativity, there's no right answer to any of those questions. But I believe that there is a moral obligation in our creative works to be true to the work, but more importantly, to ourselves. In the end, for me, the truth is the only narrative that allows for genuine unity. And that's something that we need in this world. So I encourage you to let truth be the narrative every day in every part of your life. Now, what is truth and why is it so hard to find? Well, that's literally a story for another day. So I want to leave you with this. Be encouraged today to go, create, and be a blessing. You can support our channel by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to get notified when new content comes out, and liking our videos. If you'd like to consider supporting our team financially, there's a link in the video description with more details. Those things will help our channel for sure, but if you do nothing else, please spend some time in the comments of our videos encouraging one another to create, to help others create, and to help grow that creative nature within us all. Oh, and you can check out these videos too. Thanks. We'll see you again soon.